Welcome to part 3 of overseas contracts. Today we're going to be discussing about the former contracts in Afghanistan. Now this video is a little bit different than the others. The other ones are currently locations where you can go contracting. This one is about the former contracts in Afghanistan, since so many of our members of Arete, as well as many veterans around the country, had participated in Afghanistan. We wanted to do a video over the country Afghanistan as well as those contracts there. So essentially this video is about those who participated in Afghanistan with these contracts. We wanted to show you our experience, how it was like there, the dangers that we also experienced, and all the fun that we had. Usually in these videos we warn about OPSEC, but since bases don't exist in Afghanistan anymore, we can talk about OPSEC things. Anything that's dealing with a military mission, we will not talk about, but where these bases were located, what we did inside these bases, we can be more open to discuss what occurred and how it was. Now, the war in Afghanistan was over 20 years long. A lot of people participated in this conflict, and there was a lot of PMC companies who participated in this country as well. Companies such as Triple Canopy, Gardaworld, Constellas, Academy, Blackwater, Dynacore, and many others. A lot of our members did work in Gardaworld and Triple Canopy, so this is their experience. Now, I'm not going to talk about things in the beginning of the war or the middle of the war. I'm really going to talk about how the contracts were around, 2017, 2018, all the way to 2021. There's quite a big difference between the years and stuff, so we're going to talk about around that year range. The first subject we're going to cover is the pay. Now, the pay is very wide, and it's a long range from, I would say, about $50,000 to $200,000. For example, if you worked with Triple Canopy back in 2019 at Bagram, you would get paid about $65,000, $70,000. There's been contracts like mechanics would get paid about $200,000. You can work as like a drone operator. You can work as a guard, as a cook, and in logistics. When it came to the food at the chow halls, the military hooks up contractors and their military personnel pretty good. You get range from steak, chicken nuggets, rice, beans, spaghetti, cake, wings, and tons of foreign food as well, because there was a lot of coalition troops there. So the food, for the most part, was pretty good. At the bigger, more established bases, the chow hall was even better. If you go to small outposts and do contracts there, then you get less options, and the food is more shittier. The living conditions varied as well. If you were in Bagram, you had more established facilities, but for us in Triple Canopy, we stayed in huts, which were concrete buildings, and inside were divided by rooms that were made out of wood. So you can pretty much hear everything from other people, and it gets like very cold in there, or it gets like very hot in there. Some people actually had like pods that they get to stay in. Some had tents. If you're in a smaller outpost, the conditions were a lot worse. When it floods in these areas, it floods because the ground is very thick and strong, so the water remains. And then it gets very cold in Afghanistan, so it snows, and so you're freezing your butt off while you're working. And in the summer times, it gets maybe the highest, like 90. So it's not too hot, but it still gets pretty hot. When it came to like weapons and gear, it was also very different per contract, per contractor. As in, like, we would have plate carriers of all different colors and sizes and looks. We had uniforms of all different colors. The one in Bagram, we had to wear olive green top with cargo pants, and then we can choose our type of shoe. Now, the top green, which is an olive green color, we're allowed to customize that. We can have like a combat shirt, we can have a polo shirt, or a button-up shirt. We're allowed to wear hats, or we don't have to wear a hat. Our weapons were Bushmasters, which are a type of like a M4, like an AR-15. But we had access to gun turrets, saws, 240 Bravos, grenade launchers, and many other type of weapons. We also had Glocks as well. If you were lucky enough, you get the position in the towers, and the local Afghan kids would come by, and they will talk to you, and they will try to trade with you and all that stuff. And so they try to sell and trade like opium, Soviet weapons, military patches, which was the most popular thing that we would buy from them. And then we would give them like candy and Gatorade and cookies and stuff like that. I got tons of patches and a flag, Afghan flag from the kids. And then, of course, we would see them play around, and they would fight each other and all this stuff. So it took away a lot of time when you're on shift. Now, Afghanistan is not a nice place. It is a war zone. It has been a war zone for many, many years. So the Taliban, as well as ISIS-K, would attack our bases. Now, these attacks were a lot more intense in the beginning, in the middle of the war, but later on in the war, they were just small skirmishes and small attacks in general. So they would lob mortars at our bases maybe every day, maybe every 2-3 days, maybe once a week. They would try to ground attack us once in a blue moon. In 2019, there was a big attack on Bagram using a V-bid, which is a car bomb, and it blew a massive hole in it. And then there was a ground attack that lasted for several hours. And so it's a very dangerous place to work. Contractors have been wounded. Contractors have been killed while working in Afghanistan at these bases. So you can look at online, and you can see that there's stories about contractors getting killed while out there. It's very dangerous work being a PMC in Afghanistan. In 2022, the United States government decided to pull out of Afghanistan. The Taliban was taking over the country. All hell was breaking loose. One of the members of Arete was quoted saying, "It was every man for himself when it came down to it. It was crazy how much was being thrown away and wasted. If you were the lucky ones that got to leave on a normal flight, you could have brought almost anything back with you. The people that had to leave on the C-130s weren't so lucky. One of my buddies had to leave everything in his room and take only one carry-on bag." End quote. We can literally make a video of several hours about stories from contractors in Afghanistan, but we're not going to do that to you. We're just going to keep it at a few minutes. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like this video, subscribe. Our next video for part 4 is going to be about Kosovo, so please stay tuned for that. Thank you guys.